All right. So now we'll then move to Wilbert Rideau. Your turn.
Okay. I spent 44 years in prison. I was 19 when I entered the Louisiana State Penitentiary in 1962. It was the bloodiest prison in America. I was put in a cell on death row, which ironically protected me from the violence and gave me time to learn to live. 31 men entered the prison with either a life or death sentence that year. And the class of '62 wasn't much different from those that preceded or followed it. We were ignorant, unskilled misfits. Most of us were young and desperate, crippled emotionally or psychologically, and felt rejected by society. Mostly, we were dropouts who grew up like weeds with little or no nurturing in the skills necessary to live in civilized society. We were unable to navigate society's roadmaps or see the avenues of opportunity that run through even the bleakest neighborhoods and the most desperate lives. We felt we were nothing, had nothing, and had nothing to lose. Caring little about ourselves, we cared little about anyone else. And this made us dangerous. And then one day, 1 minute, there was a tipping point. Whatever it was, frustration, temptation, a betrayal, a rejection, an argument, it triggered a reckless action, and someone ended up a victim. And despite the crime we committed and the damage we had done, we were still full of anger and felt that life hadn't given us a fair shake. So that was my starting point for finding inner peace, being as far down in life as a person can be, an outcast, condemned to die, full of resentment and anger at the world. Yet, along with those feelings was revulsion that I had taken someone's life, even in a moment of panic, and a sense that I was better. I had to be better than the terrible thing I'd done. My path to inner peace came through reading. At first, I read just to escape the maddening boredom of life in a cell and to distract myself from the future that awaited me, the electric chair. But the more I read, the more I learned, the more I reflected, the more I grew and matured. Before I went to prison, I thought everybody else, those good kids from happy homes, I thought they all had perfect lives with no hardship or worry. But through reading, I began to empathize with people who, on the surface, were different from me, understanding for the first time that all people suffer misfortune and struggle with hardship of some kind, and that all people have dreams and aspirations. There were no instant revelations. Through a long growth process, I began to shed the ignorance and anger that had governed my previous life. I emerged from my cocoon of self-centeredness to appreciate the humanity of others. I saw, for the first time, that I was connected to everyone else through our common humanity, our capacity for anguish and suffering, but also for joy and hope. It was an insight that was both painful and liberating. It made me keenly aware of the depth of the damage I'd caused to my victim, Julia Ferguson, and her loved ones, to my own family and to society. But it also told me I was not an outsider, that I belonged and had a place in the community of man. And it was this sense of belonging that brought me peace. And I realized that everything I did mattered, for good or for ill. I knew I could never make up for the ignorant, rash act of my youth, but I determined to go forward, working to improve the world around me. Through journalism, I was able to give a voice to inmates and educate the public about the reality of life behind bars and the humanity of those who live and work there. Thank you.
Thank you, Wilbert. Thank you so much. Your Holiness, do you have a question or comment?
I think that's really wonderful. As far as potential of negative thing is concerned, I think everybody have that potential. Similarly, potential of goodness also everybody has. So now I think your case, at one time, there's certain sort of environment or circumstances or factors, you see, they pushed you more than negative things. Then eventually, you use your own sort of, I think, the normal sense, common sense. Then these positive potential gradually become upper hand. So I think one very important, I always is telling, many occasions I'm telling, like sort of prisoners, or even these criminals, you see, society should sort of should not reject. They must sort of bring as a part of the society. That provides them hope and sense of responsibility. If the society reject, then they truly become sort of helpless or hopeless, yes, and alone, something. Then their frustration even increasing. So some, and here I think knowledge really, you see, turns you from little negative side and then become positive side. So knowledge really, I think, very, very important. So education is key factor. However, now modern education system, something lacking about, you see, they teach about our positive sort of potential and usefulness about these positive things, positive values. Not only value of matters or money or these things, but inner value. That I think, not touching on religion. If you touch on religion, then it will not be universal. If you use our common experience and the scientific findings, that's universal. I think, and particularly in secular sort of education system, I think we must find ways and means to educate people these inner values. That I always stress. We must sort of carry more research work, how to introduce in secular education system about these moral ethics. That I think, I'm not expert, I don't know, but I know something lacking. So the religion, those believers only attended. Education for everybody, so from kindergarten up to university level, some sort of lesson about the moral ethics. Then eventually, I think society can change. This I feel very strong. So I think your sort of experience, I think, clearly show that this potential, positive potential, always there, and because we have said, awakening that through awareness, through sort of awareness, education. So wonderful, thank you. Then also the young boy. Oh, yeah. It's really wonderful. The peace must initiate it from individual, from within. It's really wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Wilbert, you want to add anything? Do you want to add anything?
The only thing is I would like to add is that it's very important for people to understand that individuals need to feel that they are heard, they need to feel that they are understood, and they need to feel, bottom line, that they belong. If they don't, you've got a problem.
And I just personally like to salute you, Wilbert, also. How many years were you on death row?
12 and a half.
12 and a half years on death row. So never give up. You definitely illustrate never give up.